In this video, I'm looking at the TRN Kirin planar magnetic IEMs. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. I am sure you are all aware of the planar wars that are going on right now. If not, well, now you know. Now, the TRN Kirin here, let's see, it's $129. It comes with a 14.5 millimeter planar magnetic driver. There is a pretty nice selection of stuff inside. You get this metal case. This is the same one that TRN has been providing for some time with most of their IEMs, except the ultra budget ones. Now here on this little aluminium plate, we've got two sets of tuning filters. There is another set, of course, on the IEMs already. There's transparency, reference, and atmosphere or atmospheric. And to be honest, the transparency and the reference are basically the same. They sound pretty much identical. The atmospheric one here is a little bit smoother, which in turn makes the sound a little bit darker, but we'll get more into that later. What I want to show you now are these plugs. So we've got 2.5 mil, 3.5 mil, and on the IEMs themselves, we've got 4.4 millimeter balance termination. And that's because this is a modular cable, which is pretty impressive to see for something at this price point. Now the cable here is, I don't think it's as nice as the S12 or the Dioko cable, but it's a pretty good one, silver plated copper. It handles quite well. It is a little bit prone to tangling because of the ear hooks and the thinness above the Y split, and because it's a little bendy, but no, not too bad at all. But I love modular cables. Look, if you've only got one source, if you only use an IEM with your phone or a dongle, whatever, this isn't going to make a difference to you. But for someone like me who's always using different sources on the desktop or when I'm on the go, this is a godsend. I absolutely love them, and this system that TRN has works nicely. Now they have a metal shell, and the pattern on the faceplates is supposedly inspired by the mythical Kirin creature. You got your shrouded or hooded 2-pin connectors there. Not much else to say about the build. They are comfortable. They're obviously a lot smaller than the Dioko. I mean the Dioko. I call it the Dioko because it looks a bit dorky in my opinion. Subjective, of course. But yeah, nice, pretty regular shaped shells. Very comfortable as well. I'm going to dive right into the sound. Now, the Kirin is an efficient IEM. It doesn't require a whole lot of power to get going. Even a phone will yield pretty good results. But for the best experience, it does deserve to be paired with at least a dongle or a desktop DAC or a DAP, in my opinion. TRN went with a slightly V-shaped sound signature for the Kirin. Having said that, it's still fairly balanced in its presentation, and that is on the warmer side of neutral. In essence, it's a kind of a fun and cruisy IEM in terms of tuning. It doesn't try to be a reference model. It leans more towards forgiving and easygoing. Thanks to its lower treble tuning, Kirin has non-fatiguing highs, but due to its upper treble extension, it gains spaciousness and detail. Let's have a look at that graph now. Bass. Kirin's bass is powerful but clean. It might not have the depth that some other planar IEMs have, but it's a fun and engaging bass nonetheless. There's more attention given to the core mid-bass than the sub-bass. The sub-bass is less forward than the mid-bass, but even with its lighter rumble, there's a kind of a physicality that gives it power and confidence. Due to the speed of the planar driver and the treble tuning, the bass is airy despite being warm. There's sufficient definition in its impact to sound clean, but enough body to sound complete and provide some thump. So overall, the bass on the Kirin is nicely done. The mid-range has a touch of warmth, but it's fairly clean and has good articulation. It's a full-bodied mid-range, kind of close to neutral, but with a slightly thicker vocal and instrument notes. The lifted upper mid-range adds presence and vitality without shoutiness. Vocals sound satiny and smooth, but they still have ample detail. They're not up front or placed farther back on the stage. It's not the most intimate or engaging vocal presentation, and sometimes the mid-range presentation lacks bite. However, this creates a kind of a spacious mid-range for the Kirin despite somewhat relaxed treble presentation. Speaking of the treble, I would classify Kirin's treble as smooth and laid back but airy, and that airiness comes from that upper treble extension, which is essential to offset the relaxed lower treble. An 8 kHz peak grants some clarity to the mid-range, but those big dips on either side of the 8 kHz peak, they result in some percussion attacks sounding a little soft, in addition to less than stellar detail retrieval. It's not an especially sparkly or precise treble, but it contributes to the mid-range's warmer tone and its spaciousness. Kirin's treble is free of sibilance, and you can turn up the volume without fear of screaming banshees in your ears, but treble heads will likely wish for more energy and bite in the highs. As far as soundstage goes, the stage position is neutral. That means it's neither forward and up close to you nor pushed way back. It's somewhere in between. It's fairly average when it comes to dimensions and the size of the soundstage, but it has a natural spherical shape with ample depth going forward. Imaging is kind of middling due to that warmer air in the mid-range and the softened treble, but it is basically on par with other IEMs in its price range. However, Kirin underperforms when it comes to detail retrieval, as some micro details you will not hear them. They are missing from the sound. That is due to those large dips on each side of the 8 kHz peak, so it's rather uneven treble, a very smooth one, but because of that unevenness, yeah, there are some details missing, which would be my only real gripe with the sound of the Kirin here. Overall, I quite like the sound. If I had to choose actually between the Dioko and the Kirin, I would probably choose the Kirin. Not because these are brilliant, but because I do not like sibilance and I do not like sharpness. The Dioko has both of those. So to dig a bit deeper into that comparison, the Dioko here concentrates on sub-bass and has attenuated mid-bass. This results in a lack of authority in the bass and thinner lower mid-range. Kirin's bass has more body and impact in comparison. Dioko's mid-range is tuned for clarity, resulting in better articulation and more detail. Transients are somewhat abrupt on the Dioko, while Kirin's mid-range notes are rounder and warmer. These two IEMs are pretty much polar opposites when it comes to treble. Dioko's highs are forward and they bring some sharpness and some sibilance along with them. The TRN's treble, on the other hand, is a bit subdued, especially with the atmospheric filters in place. The 7 Hz has a wide soundstage. This one here has a wide soundstage with little forward depth. Kirin's soundstage isn't quite as wide, but it has considerably more depth and a more natural presentation, in my opinion. So technically, the Dioko definitely outperforms the Kirin here, but tonally, I would choose the Kirin. And then we've got the current reigning champ of the sort of entry-level planar IEMs, the Let Shure S12. And this guy, well, it just kind of does everything right, pretty much. Well, at least for me. Not everybody loves it like I do. But it's got a nice full-bodied bass, plenty of punch, plenty of authority there. Yeah, it's a clean, tight bass. The mid-range is full-bodied, sounds pretty natural. It's got excellent articulation, good clarity, good detail. And then you've got the trebles, which are a little bit forward, quite energetic. Definitely more forward and energetic compared to the Kirin here. And overall, the S12, it pretty much just gets everything right. I love the cable as well, although I do wish it was modular like the Kirin's cable. But definitely out of these three planars, the S12 is a clear winner, at least in my opinion. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. That is the TRN Kirin. I think this is a promising IEM. I wouldn't say go out and buy it right now, but I think this definitely demonstrates that TRN could really be a serious player in this planar space. So keep an eye out for them in the future. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more reviews like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Check the description down below for my full written review and links to my social media channels. And until next time, I'll see you later.